in the stillness of a picturesque suburb, where every manicured lawn and white picket fence paints the picture of simplicity and tranquility, a shadow quietly lingers. Beneath this serene facade lies a scandal gripping the heart of the community, a scandal that begins within the seemingly innocent halls of a local school. Picture this: a charismatic teacher adored by students and respected by parents, seemingly leading an ordinary life, yet beneath her composed exterior, secrets simmer. At home awaits her husband, a man whose love has twisted into an all-consuming obsession, fueled by jealousy and suspicion. His mind consumed with ideas of betrayal, he becomes ensnared in a web of paranoia, unable to distinguish truth from his own fears. As distrust festers, a chilling question looms. In a world where deceit can wear the mask of innocence, how well can we truly know those closest to us? This is a story of love turned lethal, where suspicion spirals into madness, with consequences that reach far beyond the confines of their home. As we unravel this dark tale, we are left to ponder the fragility of trust and the devastating potential of betrayal. Tucked away in the embrace of nature's gentle touch lies a neighborhood that, at first glance, could be mistaken for a scene captured in an artist's dream. Here the streets are lined with blooming cherry blossom trees, their delicate petals fluttering like whispers in the breeze. The houses, each with a character of its own, stand proudly side by side, as though they share secrets only the wind carries. It's a place where every morning begins with the ritual of friendly waves exchanged between neighbors, where children pedal their bicycles down winding paths and laughter echoes like a melody through the air. This is a community where doors remain unlocked and the rhythm of life is sweet and steady. Yet, for all its charm and tranquility, there lurks an undercurrent of unease. Beneath the smiling nods and shared cups of sugar lies an invisible tension, a quiet knowledge that sometimes surfaces in hushed conversations. The idyllic setting conceals an intricate web of emotions, where trust dances precariously on the edge. As we peer deeper into the town's hidden crevices, the shadows cast by the bright facade grow longer, hinting at unspoken truths and mysteries yearning to be uncovered. This is the stage upon which our story unfolds, a perfect suburbia that harbors secrets more profound than the surface reveals, where every smile may mask a whisper of doubt and every neighbor carries a story untold. Amidst the corridors echoing with the buzz of youthful chatter, she stands as a beacon of inspiration. Her name, Emma Reed, a name whispered with admiration, spoken with warmth. MS Reed, as her students fondly call her, is more than just a teacher. She is a guiding light. Her lessons, full of passion and wit, breathe life into the subjects she teaches, capturing the imaginations of her pupils. With every lecture, she ignites a spark, drawing students in with the tales of history and the wonders of science, making them feel as if they are part of a grand adventure. Her presence in the classroom is magnetic, with a smile that reassures and words of encouragement that uplift. Parents speak of her with gratitude, grateful for the positive impact she has on their children's lives. Beyond the school walls, MS Reed's life is a tapestry of achievements, with degrees hanging proudly on her office wall and accolades from academic circles. Her career is a testament to hard work and dedication. Her calendar, filled with meetings and plans for future projects, is a window into her bustling world. Yet, for all her outward success, there exists a hidden layer of complexity. Within the sanctuary of her home, Emma faces a different kind of challenge. The pressures of her job are but a part of the weight she carries. Tensions bubble beneath the surface, subtle yet persistent, like the quiet hum of a distant storm. They are the unspoken stories etched into the lines of her face, the fleeting shadows that cross her eyes when she believes no one is watching. It is here, in the delicate balance of public admiration and private strain, that the seeds of the unfolding scandal are sown. Emma Reed, the revered educator, stands at the cusp of a narrative that threatens to unravel the very fabric of her carefully cultivated life. As we delve deeper, we are left to wonder how well we truly know the individuals we admire so deeply. There he stands, a figure often shrouded in both admiration and mystery. Jack Reed, a man who once was the embodiment of charm and ambition. His career, a successful journey in the corporate world, had earned him both respect and envy in equal measure. Known for his sharp intellect and unwavering determination, Jack climbed the ladders with ease, his every move calculated like a game of chess. Colleagues often spoke of him in hushed tones, acknowledging his keen ability to anticipate challenges and craft solutions with precision. However, beneath this facade of control lay a man whose world gradually became consumed by shadows. At home, Jack was the epitome of dedication and love, forever attentive to Emma's needs. Their story, a whirlwind romance, was once the stuff of fairy tales. He was captivated by her brilliance, entranced by her laughter. Yet, as time wore on, what began as a deep admiration slowly twisted into something more insidious. His love, once a gentle embrace, tightened into a grip of possessiveness. Small seeds of doubt, planted by half-heard whispers and lingered glances, began to sprout in the fertile soil of his mind. Jack's personality, marked by an exacting nature, began to unravel as jealousy seeped into his every thought. Where once there was trust, now lay suspicion. Where there was joy, now lingered unease. Jack's every action began to circle around a singular obsession, the fear of losing Emma. He watched her movements with a hawk's vigilance, dissecting every interaction with a scrutinizing intensity. This obsession was not born overnight, but rather it crept in slowly, like an insidious fog that clouded his judgment and twisted his perception of reality. In the quiet moments of reflection, a part of him knew he was spiraling, yet he could not pull himself back from the precipice of paranoia. As the chasm between love and obsession widened, Jack's mind wove intricate narratives that further detached him from reality. A dangerous cocktail of insecurity and possessiveness brewed within, threatening to spill into their lives with devastating consequences. From an adoring husband, Jack had transformed into a man trapped by the very love that once set him free, setting the stage for a storm that would challenge everything they held dear. Through the lens of Jack's unraveling psyche, we are drawn into a tale of love gone awry, a reminder of how the threads of trust and affection can become frayed when consumed by the flames of jealousy. Rumors, like a creeping vine, began to clutch at the heart of the school community with an insidious persistence. What started as an unguarded comment or a suspicious glance soon twisted into a swirling tempest of gossip surrounding Emma Reed. The halls that once echoed with earnest learning now carried whispers that danced on the edge of truth and fabrication. Tales of midnight meetings and clandestine exchanges found fertile ground in the imaginations of those eager for intrigue. It was a story woven from fragments, where each retelling added a fresh thread of scandal. Staff members traded knowing looks, while parents huddled in corners, their words underscored by raised eyebrows and hushed tones. The narrative gained momentum, fueled by half-truths and assumptions. It rippled through the community with the force of a storm, leaving uncertainty in its wake. The impact was profound, unsettling the delicate balance of trust that held this picturesque suburb together. Students sensed the shift, their parents' tense conversations echoing in their minds as they sat in Emma's classroom. Her once vibrant lessons now bore the weight of invisible scrutiny. Emma, ever resilient, faced the mounting tide of suspicion with a resolve shaped by years of navigating challenges. Yet the whispers stung, each one a tiny dagger piercing the armor of her confidence. She could feel the doubt creeping in around her, like shadows lengthening at sunset. Her initial reactions were tinged with disbelief and a quiet determination to clear her name. Emma knew the power of words, how they could heal or harm, how quickly they could spiral beyond control. As she stood in the midst of this storm, she was forced to confront not only the rumors, but the unsettling reality of how quickly her world could be turned upside down. The truth held hostage by the shadows of speculation. Her every move became a dance, not of certainty, but of caution. This was a game of perception, and Emma found herself grappling with the complex tapestry of stories spun around her as she fought to reclaim the narrative of her life. The jealous husband's growing paranoia began as a whisper in the back of his mind, a murmur that steadily grew into a relentless chorus he could no longer ignore. In the quiet hours before dawn, while Emma slept peacefully beside him, Jack found himself wide awake, his mind feverishly piecing together fragments of conversations, glances, and unexplained absences. What once might have been dismissed as trivial now loomed large in his thoughts, like shadows cast by flickering candlelight, distorting everything he once held as truth. As his suspicion deepened, Jack's behavior took on an erratic edge. He meticulously tracked Emma's whereabouts, noting each moment she spent away from their home. He began trailing her covertly, crouching in his car in the shadows, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and dread. He sifted through her phone records and emails, seeking clues in the mundane exchanges of everyday life that might affirm his swirling doubts. In his mind, the smallest detail twisted into evidence of betrayal, confirmation of his darkest fears. At home, the air grew thick with unspoken tension. Jack's gaze lingered on Emma a beat too long, searching her face for tells of deception, while his responses to her remained clipped and cautious. He became increasingly isolated, withdrawing into a world where logic had no place, and only his fears reigned supreme. Conversations became battlegrounds, each word carefully weighed, every silence fraught with suspicion. Emma noticed the change, the subtle shift in their interactions. The warmth that once defined their relationship had been replaced with a chill that seeped into every room, draining it of its former light. She could feel the weight of Jack's scrutiny, the unrelenting pressure of his gaze, as if she were under a microscope. Their home, once a sanctuary, became a stage for unspoken accusations, a place where trust had been eroded by the insidious creep of doubt. Though she tried to reach through the fog of his obsession, Jack remained elusive, caught in a web of his own making. It was a game of silent warfare, a placid exterior concealing the roiling storm within. Each passing day only served to tighten the grip of his obsession, propelling him further along a path from which there seemed little chance of return. As the shadows of paranoia deepened, so too did the cracks in their once solid union, leaving both Jack and Emma teetering on the edge of a precipice, looking into an abyss that threatened to consume them both. The pivotal confrontation unfurled one evening, cloaked under the guise of a routine discussion. Yet, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, brooding shadows across their living room, the air grew thick with an unspoken tension. Emma sat at the edge of the couch, her gaze steady and unwavering, a silent plea for understanding shimmering in her eyes. Jack, pacing like a caged animal, struggled to steady his emotions, a labyrinth of confusion and hurt etched into his features. The words he had been rehearsing in the solitude of his thoughts came tumbling out, punctuated by a raw intensity. Each accusation, a sharp spear, thrown with desperate precision. "I know you're hiding something from me, Emma. I've seen the messages, the way you linger at work. Do you think I haven't noticed?" His voice was a mixture of anguish and accusation, trembling on the precipice of anger. Emma's heart pounded a chaotic rhythm against her chest as she drew a breath, her voice measured but quivering with an undercurrent of desperation. "Jack, you have to listen. There's nothing going on, nothing hidden." Her words, though firm, were tinged with a quiet plea for his belief, a hope that logic might pierce through the fog of his paranoia. But Jack's fervent belief in his suspicions was like a fortress, impenetrable and unyielding. He stepped closer, a storm of conflicted emotions swirling in his eyes. "How do you explain the late nights, the whispers? I see the way you look at me now. There's distance where there once was closeness." A tremor of vulnerability wove through his voice, the barest whisper of the man he once was. Emma, determined to bridge the growing chasm between them, reached for his hand, desperate for a connection, for the familiar warmth that had been their anchor. "Jack, please, I haven't changed. It's this, whatever it is that's clouding everything." Her denials, however sincere, clashed against the wall of Jack's obsession, each one met with mounting disbelief. The room seemed to close in around them, the weight of their unspoken fears pressing down with unrelenting force. In that moment, they were two souls adrift in a sea of uncertainty, their relationship, once a sturdy vessel, now battered by the storm of mistrust. The confrontation marked a breaking point, not a resolution, leaving silence in its wake, a silence heavy with the echoes of everything left unsaid. As the shadows stretched longer, Emma and Jack found themselves teetering on the edge of a precipice from which there seemed no easy return, their love caught in a desperate struggle against the tides of jealousy and doubt. The breaking point came like a thunderclap in the midst of a silent night, an inevitable unraveling of Jack's mind, which had been teetering on the edge for far too long. His descent into madness was not a sudden plunge, but a gradual sinking into an abyss where reason was a distant echo. External pressures gnawed at him, a demanding work life that offered no reprieve, the unrelenting gossip surrounding Emma, and the suffocating expectations he placed upon himself to be the perfect husband. Yet it was the internal storm, the relentless churning of fear and insecurity, that truly pushed him over the brink. Each imagined slight was a weight added to the scales, tipping them further out of balance. Every unseen glance, every whispered conversation, became a thread in a tapestry of betrayal that only he could see. The lines between reality and his darkest suspicions blurred until they were indistinguishable, each thought more distorted than the last. Jack's jealousy, once a shadowy companion, mutated into a monstrous entity that demanded action. It whispered insidious promises, convincing him that peace could only be found through control, through drastic measures that would silence the phantom voices haunting him. The deadly fixation took root, entwining itself around his mind like a vice, leaving him feeling powerful and powerless all at once. In those moments of clarity that punctuated his spiral, Jack knew he was losing himself, yet the pull of his obsession was too potent, too consuming to resist. He stood at the precipice, not as the man Emma once loved, but as a stranger to himself, a man whose love had become a weapon, forged in the fires of jealousy and fear. It was in this volatile space that the seeds of a tragic destiny were sown, setting in motion a chain of events that would unravel the lives of everyone around him. In Jack's descent, we witness the terrifying transformation of love into an obsession so profound it obliterates all remnants of sanity. We are left to ponder the fragility of the human mind and how easily it can be ensnared by the shadows of its own creations, driving a man to a path where darkness reigns supreme. In the heart of this unfolding maelstrom lies the school, a place once seen as a sanctuary of learning, now caught in the crosshairs of scandal. The corridors that echoed with laughter and whispers of shared secrets now buzz with a different kind of tension, one that hangs like a thick fog over every classroom. The school's administration, once solely focused on nurturing young minds, now finds itself grappling with a predicament of daunting proportions, maintaining the integrity of the institution while navigating the turbulent waters of public suspicion. In the principal's office, the air is heavy with the weight of responsibility. Meetings stretch into the late hours, each one filled with earnest discussions on how best to navigate the delicate situation. There's an urgency in the voices of the faculty, a shared understanding that the school's reputation hangs in the balance. As whispers of impropriety grow louder outside the school walls, inside, a different narrative unfolds, one of diligence, empathy, and a commitment to uphold the trust placed in them by the community. Measures are swiftly enacted, both to address the swirling allegations and to protect the students from the chaos threatening to spill over. Policies are scrutinized and procedures tightened, all in an effort to ensure a safe and impartial environment for learning. Staff members undergo additional training on handling sensitive situations, their roles evolving alongside the growing pressure to appease concerned parents and stakeholders. Yet, despite these efforts, the strain is palpable. Teachers go about their routines with an added layer of vigilance, aware of the watchful eyes that now follow their every move. The students, too, feel the shift, their innocent gazes not immune to the undercurrents of unease. They whisper questions amongst themselves, their curiosity piqued by snippets of overheard conversations and the subtle shifts in their teachers' demeanors. The atmosphere, once vibrant, now bears the weight of uncertainty, a constant reminder of the delicate balance the school must maintain. In the shadow of suspicion, the institution stands as a pillar of resilience, striving to uphold the values it has long cherished while navigating the treacherous journey towards clarity and trust. As the community watches with bated breath, the school becomes both a symbol of the scandal's reach and a beacon of hope for restoration and resolution. Through this lens, we glimpse the profound impact that a single story can have on an entire institution, leaving us to ponder the far-reaching consequences of human fallibility. The fatal decision came in the quiet solitude of a dimly lit room, where paranoia had woven its intricate web around Jack Reed's mind. It was within these shadowy confines that the echoes of obsession morphed into dangerous clarity. His thoughts, once a chaotic whirl, now crystallized into a sinister resolve. Jack's fingers trembled as he drew out a blueprint, a plan meticulously crafted, each step an echo of his twisted determination. The first phase involved understanding Emma's routine, a pattern as familiar to him as the lines etched into his palms. He traced her movements with precision, memorizing her schedule with a fervor that bordered on compulsion. Each glance at the clock marked another moment where reality splintered further from his grasp. He scoured her social media, piecing together fragments of her life outside their home, searching for any hint that could justify the actions he was about to undertake. With each discovery, his resolve hardened, a chilling testament to the power of an unfettered mind. Then came the procurement of tools, items that would leave no trace of their acquisition. Conversations with strangers were approached with caution, each interaction a delicate dance of deception. He practiced an air of nonchalance, immersing himself in a role of innocence while securing the means to enact his plan. Carefully he selected his weapon, not of metal or steel, but of manipulation and misdirection. His mind became a fortress where every contingency was considered, every possible outcome analyzed with an unnerving precision. As the days passed, Jack rehearsed his plan over and over, a grim symphony of scenarios playing out in his mind. He envisioned each step, each breath, each moment where he would seize control. The future he foresaw was devoid of uncertainty, leaving room only for the chilling clarity of his obsession. It was in these moments of solitary reflection that Jack found a twisted sense of peace, his mind a landscape where logic and madness danced a perilous waltz. The world outside continued its ebb and flow. Children still laughed, neighbors still waved, but for Jack, time marched to the relentless rhythm of his impending decision. In his heart, the lines between love and vengeance blurred until they were indistinguishable, each thought a brushstroke in a portrait of impending chaos. With his plan set, Jack stood on the precipice of action, the chilling resolve of his intentions casting long shadows into the future. As his mind echoed with the weight of his decision, the narrative marched inexorably toward its conclusion, leaving in its wake a path fraught with tension and foreboding. In Jack's mind, the die had been cast, and with it, the silence of his resolve spoke volumes about the chaos yet to unfold. The day of reckoning arrived shrouded in a deceptive calm, an ordinary morning draped in the mundane rituals of suburban life. The sun painted the town in soft hues as it rose, casting a warm glow over the quiet streets. In the Reed household, however, the air was thick with an almost tangible tension, a quiet storm brewing beneath the surface. Jack's mind was a flurry of calculated anticipation, each tick of the clock marking the relentless march toward a decision he could no longer delay. Emma, unaware of the sinister plan in motion, went about her morning routine, her thoughts occupied by the day's lessons and upcoming meetings. It was a day like any other, or so it seemed, but beneath the veneer of normalcy lay a plan set in motion, a chilling precursor to the chaos about to be unleashed. As Emma left for school, Jack followed, his heart pounding with an intensity that echoed in his ears. With each corner turned and stoplight endured, his resolve only grew stronger. He was a man on the brink, standing at the precipice between devotion and destruction. Outside the school, the clock ticked closer to an inevitable climax. The chatter of students and the bustling of teachers provided a stark contrast to the silent storm raging within Jack's mind. He lingered in the shadows, tracing Emma's path with the precision of a predator. As the final bell echoed through the halls, marking the end of another school day, Jack's resolve solidified. What happened next unfolded in a blur, a swift, harrowing sequence of actions that would forever alter the fabric of their lives. In a moment where time seemed to stretch and distort, Jack's world tilted on its axis, his actions set into motion with devastating consequence. The community, once a tapestry of routine and familiarity, was instantly transformed by the shockwaves of his deed. Sirens pierced the air, a jarring symphony of alarm that rippled through the neighborhood. Neighbors gathered in clusters, their faces etched with disbelief as the grim reality unfolded. It was a surreal tableau where the ordinary trappings of life became overshadowed by the extraordinary gravity of the situation. The immediate aftermath was a swirl of confusion and somber realization. In the quiet corners of the school, there were whispers of disbelief, the weight of tragedy settling like a heavy fog. Parents clutched their children with newfound urgency, the fragility of safety starkly underscored by the day's events. As the dust began to settle, the community found itself on the cusp of an uncertain future, grappling with the rupture of innocence in a place once defined by its tranquility. The repercussions of Jack's actions would be felt far and wide, leaving a trail of questions and a longing for understanding in their wake. In the wake of the crime, the town's heartbeat seemed to falter, its rhythm altered by the stark reminder of how swiftly darkness can seep into the light. The investigation began like the first glimmers of dawn breaking over the horizon, casting light on the shadows that had enveloped the town. Law enforcement moved with quiet determination, the gravity of the situation reflected in the furrowed brows and steady gazes of the detectives tasked with unraveling the web of events. The scene was meticulously scoured, each fragment of evidence a puzzle piece waiting to be placed within the larger narrative that had unfolded. The air buzzed with tension as investigators pored over documents, scrutinized phone records, and mapped timelines, their collective focus unwavering. With each passing day, the pieces began to fall into place, the story growing clearer with each revelation. Witnesses were interviewed, their accounts weaving together a tapestry of information that began to illuminate the path Jack had taken. The breakthrough came in the form of an overlooked detail, a small clue that once uncovered, unlocked the path to the truth. It was a mere thread, yet it unraveled with startling clarity, leading investigators to the conclusion they had long sought. The arrest, when it came, was both inevitable and shocking, a moment that rippled through the community with the force of a tidal wave. Jack, once a respected figure, was now a man in custody, the weight of his actions casting a long shadow over the lives of all involved. As the news broke, the town was seized by a complex wave of emotion. Residents gathered in small groups, their conversations tinged with disbelief and a quiet mourning for the loss of innocence. The truth now laid bare was a sobering reminder of the fragility of human nature. As the narrative of events crystallized, there was relief in the clarity, yet a profound sadness lingered, a shared understanding that something precious had been irreversibly altered. For Emma, the revelations were a painful catharsis, a release from the binds of suspicion that had shadowed her life. As the dust of the investigation settled, the community found itself amidst the slow process of healing, seeking a return to normalcy while grappling with the echoes of the past. The search for justice had begun. The path would be long and fraught, but it promised the hope of closure, a chance to rebuild and move forward from the remnants of tragedy. Through the lens of the investigation, we reflect not only on the events themselves, but the enduring resilience of a community bound by shared experiences and the universal quest for truth. The trial commenced under the stark fluorescent lights of the courthouse, a space that now served as a battleground for truth and deception. The air was thick with anticipation, every seat filled with members of the community whose lives had been irreversibly touched by the events leading to this moment. On one side of the courtroom sat Emma, the whispers of her alleged infidelities still echoing among those gathered. Her presence seemed to cloak the room in a somber weight, her eyes betraying the exhaustion of someone who had weathered countless storms. Across the aisle, Jack, the man now on trial, appeared a shadow of his former self, his once confident visage now marked by the haunting pallor of remorse. The gallery was a mosaic of contrasting emotions, some wearied by empathy, others hardened by judgment, as the prosecution laid bare the sequence of events in painstaking detail. Their arguments were bolstered by evidence and witness testimonies that painted a vivid picture of Jack's descent into obsession and its fatal consequences. The prosecution's narrative was one of calculated intent, weaving a portrayal of Jack as a man who allowed jealousy to overshadow his moral compass. The defense, however, painted a starkly different picture, pleading with the jury to see Jack not as a monster, but as a victim of mental unraveling. They argued that his actions were the result of an emotional collapse, an implosion sparked by the incessant rumors and perceived betrayals that gnawed at his sanity. The defense called upon experts in psychology, who spoke to Jack's fragile mental state, urging empathy and understanding from those tasked with rendering a verdict. As the trial unfolded, it became clear that the community was teetering on a precipice of division. Some rallied behind Emma, viewing her as a tragic figure caught in an unwelcome storm, while others sympathized with Jack, believing he had been pushed to the edge by forces beyond his control. Conversations spilled over into the town's cafes and parks, where the case became a catalyst for heated debates on love, loyalty, and the complexities of human nature. The dichotomy of opinions mirrored a deeper reflection of the human condition, underscoring how easily the lines between right and wrong can blur when emotions run high. In this charged atmosphere, the jury's duty weighed heavily, their decision more than just a resolution of facts, but a reflection of the community's shared conscience. As the closing arguments echoed through the courtroom, there was a palpable sense of finality, a recognition that soon the gavel would fall, marking the end of a chapter that had left no soul untouched. In the quiet moments before the verdict, the courtroom stood as a microcosm of the broader world, a place where justice, perception, and morality intertwined in a delicate dance. The trial, with its revelations and reckonings, offered no simple answers, only a mosaic of perspectives that laid bare the complexities of human frailty and the haunting echoes of choices made. With bated breath, the community awaited the verdict that would ripple across their lives, a testament to the enduring quest for truth in a world tinged with shades of grey. In the wake of the trial, the community found itself standing amidst the shards of a once unblemished world, a place now indelibly marked by the echoes of tragedy. The town, a living organism composed of people bound by history and familiarity, bore the scars of the events that had unfolded, each resident grappling with the renewed understanding of their shared vulnerability. For Emma, the haunting reality of her husband's actions lingered like a shadow, casting a pall over every aspect of her life. The whispers had subsided, replaced by a silence that brought neither clarity nor peace. Her days were a labyrinth of muted grief and silent reflection, punctuated by the small but profound attempts to reclaim a sense of normalcy. In the corridors of the school where she once inspired young minds, the walls seemed to echo with memories of a time before innocence was shattered. Her students, too young to fully comprehend the intricacies of the tragedy, carried the weight of a disrupted world in their wide-eyed gazes. Some found solace in the routines of school life, while others wore the uncertainty like an invisible cloak, their questions unanswered but ever present. Jack's family, the unintentional collateral in the storm of his actions, faced a future where every gathering bore the unspoken absence of a brother, a son, a husband now on a path entirely separate from their own. Their worlds had been irrevocably altered, bound by the cruel reminder of how swiftly love can metamorphose into something unrecognizable. They sought strength in one another, weaving a fragile tapestry of support and understanding, determined to carry forth the lessons of love and loss with dignity. The broader community, once a tapestry of trust and camaraderie, found itself navigating a landscape where relationships were re-evaluated through a lens of caution. Neighbors who once exchanged pleasantries now looked inward, questioning the assumptions upon which they had built their lives. It was a time of introspection, where the ideals of trust and betrayal were dissected and redefined within the quiet sanctity of living rooms and late-night conversations. This tragedy, a stark reminder of the human condition's fragility, prompted a broader reflection on the nature of relationships, the delicate balance between trust and secrecy, the invisible lines that, once crossed, can alter lives beyond measure. The community, stirred from its slumber of routine, grappled with a narrative that had rewritten their collective identity. As time moved forward, the ripples of tragedy continued to extend outward, a somber testament to the enduring impact of choices made in moments of desperation. Yet within this tapestry of sorrow, there emerged a quiet resilience, a shared understanding that healing, though slow and fraught with challenges, was possible. The aftermath of the scandal did not offer simple resolutions, but it ignited a dialogue on the profound implications of trust within human relationships, leaving each person, each family, to piece together their own mosaic of recovery, shaped by the echoes of the past and the hope for a more compassionate future. In conclusion, as the dust settles on this harrowing tale of love, twisted into jealousy and suspicion that spiraled into tragedy, we are left with a haunting reminder of the fragility of human nature. The story of Emma and Jack Reed serves as a stark illustration of how unchecked obsession can poison the mind, transforming affection into a force capable of shattering lives and communities alike. It prompts us to reflect on the vulnerabilities hidden within the human psyche and emphasizes the need for open communication, understanding, and above all, trust in our relationships. Trust, once broken, leaves scars that ripple far beyond the immediate circle, affecting families, friends, and entire communities. Through this narrative, we are invited to examine our own lives and consider the importance of transparency and honesty, the cornerstones that strengthen the bonds we share with others. As we close this chapter, we encourage you to share your thoughts and insights about what you have just heard. What do you think might have changed the course of this tragic story? Could a different choice have led to a different outcome? We invite you to join the discussion in the comments below. And if you found this story compelling, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more tales that delve deep into the mysteries of the human heart. Your engagement helps us continue to explore these mesmerizing narratives, so don't forget to hit the like button and turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest content. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the shadows, and remember, the most intriguing mysteries often lie closer to home than we might think.